Well, merry day after Christmas, All People's family, and we are so thankful to be with you in your home today. We are not gathered together as we have just had numerous wonderful events, but we're glad to be together online.
It's been such a wonderful December together, beginning with our Christmas tree lighting service and then the Christmas village. So much wonderful time together as a church family. Experiencing the live show and so many fun booths to interact with, and just such rich community during this month, and the Christmas Eve service, the candle lighting service, just been really a sweet time together as a church family.
It really has, and Stephanie and I like to do a devotional at the end of the year and give you perhaps something practical that you can do as an individual or as a couple or as a single or perhaps with your roommates for you to move closer to Jesus and to really have a biblical act to end your year off. And so this year, as we were praying and thinking, we really thought of an altar of remembrance, an altar of remembrance. And let me tell you, this is actually several places in the Old Testament, but one of my favorite stories about this is found in Joshua chapter 4. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, when the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight. We're going to keep reading, but I think I'm going to have Steph read because she has such a lovely voice. So will you read the next paragraph, Steph?
So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever.
So the Israelites did as Joshua commanded them. They took the 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, according to the number of the tribes of Israelites, as the Lord had told Joshua, and they carried them over with them to their camp, where they put them down. And then Joshua set up the 12 stones that had been in the middle of the Jordan at the spot where the priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant had stood, and they are there to this day. This is something that Steph and I learned actually from our brother-in-law when we were taking a trip in New Mexico, and he told us about this place where he had actually been building this altar of remembrance, and he invited us up to go with him. And so we got there at the top and we took stones. They looked something like this, nothing fancy, but what we each did was took the stone and said something that God had done for us that year. So it's kind of like, imagine crossing the Jordan and taking a stone from it so that they could build it and say, we'll never forget how God took us out of Egypt, through the Jordan into the promised land. So we can always look at this. So this is something we have been doing, and it starts small. It starts with like one stone, but it's really cool how year after year you see this grow. Steph, anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, I think one of the things for us is sometimes we go alone. Sometimes I've gone alone to this altar of remembrance. Sometimes Robert goes alone. And at times we bring the whole family. And so maybe if you're in different stages as a single or a family, or your kids are all grown and out of the house, this is just an established place that you've set up that you can go to and really have a time with God where you're by faith bringing something before Him, thanking Him and remembering.
So what I'm reminded of is maybe one of the first altars that was set up in the book of Genesis, where it's Jacob who is actually fleeing, and he sets it up at a place called Bethel. And at that place he builds this actually, it's an altar already built by his grandfather Abraham, but he comes upon that place and then he grabs a stone, and that's where there's this ladder going into heaven where he has this angelic encounter, and from there on Bethel would become a sacred spot. My point is this, is we all need a sacred place where we can go to and have a moment to just reflect and to say, God, thank you for what you're doing. A place, and the reason I love this story from Joshua, it was a place from crossing from one season into the next. And especially in this 24/7 society we live in, where things never seem to stop and we're always, tapped in and wired in and everything's going, it's great to have a time where you go off to a sacred place. And let me just talk about that for a second. This could just be a corner in your backyard. This could be a little place in a park. I like to have it hidden. Ours is kind of hidden behind some bushes because this is a public trail that people go on, but it's hidden away so the altar doesn't get torn down. If it gets torn down, no big deal. But we like to have that little spot where we can step aside, have some privacy, and we add our stone to it. And so we'd say something like, God, thank you, this year is the year you brought a financial breakthrough, or God, this year we saw this person healed, or this year we were able to buy a house, or I don't know, Steph, if you could think of some other ones that you've put the stone, maybe they're not even that big of a situation. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, one time, one of my rocks was thankful for his provision. I think this altar's been really a special place for me to go and meet with the Lord on special occasions, even just a place of resurrendering things that maybe I've been believing for years and haven't seen come to pass yet, but just saying, God, it's not my will be done, but it's yours. And so remembering that prayer that's in my heart and it's still there, and laying that stone of remembrance of God, it's your will in my life, not mine. And so that's also a place at the altar where I kind of re-up again of just saying, God, it's all about you.
So in closing, we'd encourage you to build an altar of remembrance this year. Set aside a time, talk to your roommates or your spouse or your family. This is the time we're going to do this thing. Probably need 30 minutes to an hour. Then go on that journey, have the place picked out where you go to. We encourage you to have it kind of a hidden place away where everyone's not seeing you and your altar can last there. And then take your stone, and I would think through what is the actual thing that happened this year that you want to give thanks to God, that you want to reflect on, and then pray and put that down. And I think one time we did that, and then we ended with one little a cappella worship song. And it's just a sweet occurrence, a sweet experience that you can have with God to denote the end of one season and the beginning of the other. So we just bless you, church family. Thank you so much for all the ways that you have served Jesus, that you have been his hands and feet to those who are hurting, that you've prayed for the sick, that you've invited and shared with the lost, that you've supported missionaries around the world, you've faithfully sown into this church. We've got to remember that though the world might shake and quake, that we have an unshakable Savior in Jesus, and that he says he'll build his church and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So we are so grateful for you and all that you've contributed, and just praying as we end this year, God's richest blessings on you.
We love you so much, and there's so many amazing memories from 2021 as a church family that we will treasure in our hearts for the years to come. And as we approach 2022, we want to say Happy New Year and may God bless you.
One of the things that marked 2021 was this original song from All Peoples, Wholehearted. And so join with us now as we finish this time by singing that together.
There is only one thing that I seek. Nothing else will ever comfort me. So many things that this world could afford, they fall so short. I wanna be wholehearted, nothing else, just Jesus. One thing is needed. I wanna be wholehearted. The waves of other lovers push and pull to steal from me the depths I have with you. The enemy surrounds on every side, so I fix my eyes. I wanna be nothing else, just Jesus. One thing is needed. I wanna be wholehearted. Oh Jesus, you are my one thing forever. 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 I wanna be wholehearted, nothing else, just Jesus.